All right, Falcon fans, welcome back to another Atlanta Falcons Fandemic moment. It has been a minute for me. I've been doing a lot of things from work to sustaining an injury, so I've been laid up for a minute, but I'm back, and I'm here to talk about Friday night open practice, the final practice open to the public. And guys, it was a Friday night type of night in the lights at the Benz. And if you weren't able to be there, I mean, you missed a good one. This was by far the best practice that I have ever seen the Falcons put on. Whether they were doing it for a show, whether they were doing it for actually just doing it for the fans, or actually doing it to to keep developing their chemistry. But either way, this is the by far the best show I have seen the Falcons put on. And I got an opportunity to meet a few of the fellow Atlanta Falcons content creators. Enjoyed meeting them. Enjoyed my time talking to them. But truthfully, y'all, I was ready to get to my seat because I didn't want to miss a second of the action that was about to start. And as I found my seat, the practice was already started. The guys hadn't started, but they were on the field doing the customary loosening up, stretching, doing their high knees and stuff like that. But I was ready to, I didn't want to miss nothing, so I was in a hurry to get to my seat. But Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris took a moment to address the crowd, address the fan base, to get us prepared for what we were about to see. They welcomed us into the band, but they was getting us prepared for what we were about to see. Now, the previous Saturday to Friday, on the 27th, there was a practice at the high school in Beaufort. I think it was Signature High School. But anyway, I missed that practice. Didn't want to miss it. I wanted to be there, but I sustained an injury that kept me out. But there was nothing in the world. If I had to get to the Benz in a wheelchair via ambulance, I was going to be there at the Benz, y'all. But I'm going to do my absolute best to fill you guys in on all the excitement that everybody's talking about. And there's a lot to talk about. I mean, there was nothing really negative that I could see that could be brought out. I mean, there were a few drop balls, a couple of misreads, that stuff that normally goes on in the practice, especially with a team that's as new as ours. So you're going to have that type of stuff. But for a team that's new as ours, and to see that the chemistry that was developed between Kirk Cousins, Penix, and the receivers, the offensive line, I mean, it was something to see for people. I mean, you would have thought this team had been playing together for years. But most importantly, you want to see that chemistry with a team such as that's new as ours. Now, I'd like to point out one thing that a lot of people are overlooking. We walked away from this camp, and they've been through the OTA, through the public open practices. Guys, we got away through these OTAs and practices with no injuries, no significant fights. I mean, you saw a couple of people limping. You saw ice packs here and there. But that's to be expected. You saw nobody on crutches. Nobody got carted off the field. But although I thought Ray McLeod was going to need one after he took that hit from DeMarco Hellams. I mean, DeMarco Hellams laid a hit on him that was, I mean, you could hear that hit resonate through the Benz. And it was one of those ones that got the crowd, with that ooh type of, reaction. But that's what you want to see in practice. That's when those pads come on, that's what you want to see. But the fact that we have walked away from these camps without injuries is one to take note of. That hit that DeMarco Hellams laid out, that's one of the things that he's known for. He's known for delivering hits. Ken O'Neill was set the standard when it came to hitting receivers coming across that field, or hitting receivers that coming across for a short pass or whatever. But DeMarco Hellams, I think he's going to fit in very well, with us on defense. And he laid that hit, and it's one of those hits I can't keep, I got to keep talking about it because I'm stoked about the hit. But it's one of those hits that you hear in the Oklahoma drill, and they don't do this drill anymore. But the bull ring, it's that type of hit that you heard. So and that's something that you look forward. That's what you want to hear from your defense, your defensive back. So anybody that's worried about whether or not the defensive backs are going to be able to lay the wood this season, put it as a second thought. Because if they are there to make the play, they're going to lay the hit, especially to Marco Heller. Mikey Hughes was in on a lot of plays too. He didn't have any like significant hits, and they weren't that it wasn't that hitting type of practice. But at the same time, you saw the chemistry amongst the defense. They did a lot of interchanging on defense, especially on that defensive front, and that's what I love. Them guys are huge. Them guys are big. They're carrying a lot of weight. So if you're able to interchange your defensive front and get these players their rest, I mean, you'll see players making plays, and you see a lot of the defensive lines, that were fresh coming in. They got in, they made plays. They didn't get in to sack the quarterback. Of course, you can't sack the quarterback, but I think if they were going full speed, they could have. And that's my thought on it. That's the way I saw it. Nate Lamon, guys, let me tell you, Nate was all over the place. If he does not earn his starting spot, I mean, good grace alive. I mean, just about everything. Him and Caden Ellis, but Lamon was all over the place. And both of those guys, Caden Ellis and Nate Lamon, both are going to pick up where they left off. Guys, let me tell you, Lamon, he's not going to give up that position without a fight. Whoever he's and Coach Raheem Morris and Jimmy Lake, they're going to have their hands full when they're coming to decide who they want to start at that position. Because, like I said, Lamon, he showed that he earned it. He's going to keep it. Play after play, he was there. I didn't pick up any plays where he went in coverage, and that's one of the things that I was looking for, but I didn't catch any. But other than that, he played outstanding. Played with a lot of pep in his step and a lot of jumping around. So he was one of these players. And we got to the point where he took his jersey and he tucked it up under his shoulder pads, and that's when he's dialed in. People, those are type players you like. Okay, you don't see many players doing that. I did it when I was in high school, but other than that, like I said, he played phenomenal. Him and Caden, they were all over the place. Now, Grady Jarrett, he was returning from an ACL injury. He had a couple of great flashes, people. I mean, he played a lot better than the footage that I saw from the high school. But what I did notice is that he did play, looked a little more fluent playing with that knee brace on. He himself had a whole lot of pep in his step. And it was like he was in a hurry to be everywhere. Every time he came off the field, he was running. Coming onto the field, he was running. Coming back for the next play, he was running. So Grady, I think he's back into the football mindset. And like I said, he had a lot of hustle. And that's what I wanted to see in Grady Jarrett. I didn't want him laboring on that leg. I didn't want him messing with that knee brace. I actually thought at one point he was trying to take it off. I think he was just trying to adjust it. But you could tell he was being frustrated with that leg brace being on. But, better safe than sorry. You got to keep it on. Precaution is key. If he decides to take it off, I think it'll be during the season. But I don't think I think it's going to become one of those comfort zone type devices where he's probably going to keep it on. Much like a lot of players do, like when they sustain, they get an elbow injury or arm injury or whatever, they get that brace on and they somehow play better. I don't know if that's going to be the case with Grady Jarrett, but I like the way he was moving. I like the way he was getting into the backfield. He got into the backfield. He raised his hand up like, "Hey, I'm here. I got you." That type of thing, and that's what you wanted to see from Grady. And the whole D line actually played phenomenal. The whole D line, they know they couldn't hit Penix or Kyle Cousins, and they couldn't really hit Bijan. But at the same time, they raised their hand up when they signifying that they made a tackle. Onto the offensive side of the ball, I think the biggest takeaway that's in everybody's eyes. With the connection between Kirk Cousins and Drake London. Cousins to Drake London. Cousins to Drake London. Guys, get ready to hear that all season. I think that's going to be the connection. We're looking for what he's going to be able to do with Kyle Pitts, who also played very well. But that connection between Kirk and Drake, it looked like they had been playing for years. I mean, the long throws, the short throws, it was spot on. I think there was one drop pass between them two. But other than that, I mean, guys, when I tell you we got something to look forward to the season, I'm going to say it again. Kirk Cousins to Drake London for the catch. But Drake actually caught one over his shoulder that was so spectacular. I mean, even I'm brain farting here. Even AJ Terrell had to come up and pat him up and like, man, great catch. Because it was a good catch. I have it on, and I didn't think about it. I should have done it, but I actually have it on my camera. But like I said, it was a great catch, spectacular to say the least. But these two, we thought we were entertained with Matt Ryan and Julio. Be prepared of more of the same from Kirk and Drake. Now that's not saying Kirk didn't connect with the other receivers, Darnell Mooney, Rondale Moore, Casey Washington. And on that note, Casey Washington, guys, he looked and played bigger than the 6'1", 201 pounds that he's listed as. He had a couple of catches that were highlight reel like. I mean, it was made for highlight reel. And it was just as spectacular as the ones that were going to Drake. But he caught one that I didn't think he was going to catch, and he caught it. And he came down so hard, he got up limping. He limped to the side, and but he sat out that one play, came right back in, and caught another one. So this is the type of skill and type of toughness that Coach Raheem Morris and that that the Falcon organization is looking for out of their players. Not saying that when you're hurt, you don't let somebody know that you're hurt and can't go through with the play. But at the same time, the way he came back in and caught another one is what was so eye-opening to me. Casey Washington has that skill that I'm thinking in the future, he could very well work his way up to the number 2 or number 3 spot receiver. And that's saying a lot about the way he was playing in the Benz the other day. Another note, and I took a lot of notes on this fella, so y'all give me a second, and I'm gonna have to go back because I see I missed a couple of defensive notes here too. But Kyle Pitts looked good. He looked good. He looked great going through the various routes and progressions. Even caught a couple of passes, but guys, he's still suspect on the blocking. He's getting, and we know he that's not what he's known for. But at the same time, he's getting pushed too far back in the backfield. Now I'm hoping that we're able to camouflage this and when he's on the field, the play is either going another way or it's a pass play that's going to the other side of the field. But like I said, the couple of times that I saw him in blocking formation, actually had to go through with blocking, it didn't look like he improved. And I know, like I said, I know it's just practice, but at the same time, you practice how you play, right? Sometimes. But it seemed like it's something that he still needs to work on. But as far as a receiver, he was all over the place. He was all over the place. And it was, quite a few times that even the ball didn't go to him. He was open. Much like much of the receivers, not saying that the defensive back was kind of playing relaxed on them, but at the same time, you could tell that opposing defenses are going to have a time with the receivers that we have. All right. Another note that I wanted to make, Cordell Hodge, he dropped a wide open pass, but more than made up for it with 2 additional passes that he made, showing why he's still here in Atlanta. We know that he's a special teams guy, but at the same time, if called upon, we know that we can use him. He does have the hands to play and continue to play wide receiver. And to note, he was a great 3rd down receiver for Matt Ryan. So I don't expect that to change with Kirk Cousins. I think if if Kirk Cousins was to go to him, I think he'll be fine. There's nothing to worry about. Dropping passes is something things that happen. And you could question one of the passes, but you know how I always say, if it hit you in the hand, you're supposed to catch it. Well, this what happened to Cordell. So Cordell is I think he's good. He's going to be safe. I think a lot of people had him on that suspect. He might be a let go list, but I think he's going to be here. He's reliable. He's a special teams guy. He's a speedster. Even at his age, I mean, he still can get down the field on kickoff. So I'm looking for him to to stay where he is. Penix, he was very solid, just like Cousins, throwing dimes and darts all over the place. But there was a couple of suspect throws. I don't know if it was him or whether receivers misreads. But you expect that from a rookie, though. You don't expect the rookie to come in and everything's going to be A1. So, but one thing I did notice about Michael Penix is this guy has has a cannon. It was one throw that he threw to, I want to say Rondale Moore or I think it was Darnell Mooney up the sideline, and remember how Michael Vick used to throw his pass. It would look effortlessly. That's how Penix threw that ball to Darnell Mooney up the sideline, and it was a catch going out of bounds, but it was one of those throws you couldn't help but notice how effortlessly he threw that ball. It was a 3-step drop, and he just let it rip, and it was a completed pass to Darnell, and it was a great pickup for first down, and that was another thing you saw too. These throws that both came from Penix and Cousins were mostly like a lot of first downs. Cousins threw a lot of underneath passes too to Drake and other receivers, but at the same time, these long distance throws, they were first down throws and they were completed passes. Especially the ones from Kirk. Kirk threw these things on a dime, where only the receiver can get to him, or it was a completed catch. But like I said, Cousins, and I can't say it enough, he changed the dynamic of this offense with the receivers that we have. They are very fast, and I was wondering if Kirk was going to be able to adjust his game to how fast the receivers are, or the receivers having to adjust their speed to Kirk Cousins. But it seems like the chemistry is going to be there. I mean, like I said, I can't talk about it enough. It was energetic. I mean, it was electrifying. I can't talk about it enough. Like I said, now I'm gonna drop over to Tyler Algier, guys. I'm gonna tell you, Tyler Algier is special, and we need to keep Tyler here for as long as possible. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Every time he got the ball, every time he touched that ball, he was gone. And you could tell he kind of, I'm not going to say he didn't run full speed, but at the same time, once he got into the mix of the offensive, the offensive line, defensive line being there, he kind of like played around with the jumping around and carrying on. But at the same time, you saw his feet, and it's been a couple of those runs where you just knew he was going to break it. One time he ran into Braylon Trice, and I'm gonna tell you, if it was going game speed, Braylon Trice would have been trucked. I mean, I don't know if Braylon would have came with the same speed and energy as he did when they locked up, but if I know anything about Tyler Algier and how he's been running since he's been here in Atlanta, Braylon would have been trucked. I know Braylon is supposed to be that guy, but if I had to put the money on them two going up against each other, I'm gonna put my money on Tyler. But like I said, we need to keep them two here. Keep Tyler here as long as possible for that 1-2 punch. I think he's very important to the success of our run game. And so far, he has proven that. But if he keeps performing the way he does, I can see a lot of teams expressing interest in him. Even right now, I know like a team like New England or a team like Dallas, they're probably looking down his throat and hoping that we're not going to be in a position to keep him. But like I said, we need to keep those two together for as long as possible. But I know it's going to be hard, and I don't see him keep past next season. If he stays past next season, it's going to be because of the money. It's going to be because we paid him. But other than that, I know he wants to be the number one. He can be the number one. And you can argue the fact that he should be the number one. But Bijan is that guy. And speaking of Bijan, Bijan, we already know what we can expect from Bijan. He's already proved his stake. He had a pretty good. I'm gonna call it an exercise for him because that's basically what it was. But what I wanted to see from Bijan was him lined up in a few of the pass catching schemes where he's going out for a pass. I don't know. I may have missed that. I have to go back and look at the footage that I got. But I think I did miss him if he was ever lined up as a receiver. Most of the time that I saw him lined up, he was lined up in running back. It was one particular play that I actually would have loved to have seen. And I know it's in his playbook because the Rams used it all the time. But anybody that came along with that Steve Walsh coaching regime, they use this play all the time, and I did not see them use it, but I know it's there. Matter of fact, I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's an empty backfield set. It's an empty backfield set, and I hope you guys can see it because I can't see my monitor. But like I said, it's an empty backfield set, and with this set here, you can stick as long as you have. I'm gonna say Drake London here on X. If you have Drake London here on X, and you have your speedster right here on Z, and you can pretty much F is going to be not F. What is this? Y. That's going to be Kyle Pitts. But anybody else you can plug and play with either Bijan Robinson, Rondell Mooney, or I need to put this thing. I need to find a way to put this on there so everybody can view it like I'm seeing it. But any those other positions you can plug and play anybody else. But that play is going to be important for Drake London. It's going to be important for Kyle Pitts, Darnell Mooney, because it separates that safety from up top. And if that safety comes down to be one-on-one with somebody, that play is going to be almost unstoppable. I'm going to share it in my podcast, too. I'm going to, matter of fact, I'll bring it up in the podcast again so that everybody can see what I was talking about. But it's almost going to be unstoppable. And as long as the O-line holds up, I see Cousins and, the offense is going to be successful. And speaking of the O-line, McGarry. When I tell you McGarry has stuck my foot in my mouth, guys, McGarry got called for a holding penalty, right? And it was a big one. It was a big one because I think it was doing the 2-minute drill. I'm not sure. I think it was doing the 2-minute drill. But he got called for a holding penalty. But he played awesome, if that makes any sense. And he got tired. You could tell he was tired because his hands stayed on his hips. But he kept his feet moving. He had his hands full because a lot of the time the linebackers is who he was facing. But he kept his feet moving. And as a matter of fact, on Tyler Allgeier's long run, McGarry was the one that sprung him. And on top of that, not only did he spring Tyler Allgeier, he also pancaked Braylon Trice on that same play. He put Braylon on his back. That's not saying a whole lot. Well, it actually is saying a whole lot because it is McGarry. We're expecting him to have made some type of improvement, and that I saw. What I did not see, though, is him interchanging on like they did last year or the year before, where they was using him on both sides of the line at the guard position. That I did not see. And I did not see them use him as I did see them use him as a tackle. And I think that was the play where they actually did where he did spring Tyler Algier. So but Gary, although he showed that he was tired all the time, but when it came time to snap that ball, he was ready to play. But outside that holding penalty, I think he's gonna improve for us. I mean, I'm looking for big things out of him. And he was one of the ones that I said I was going to watch him when it came time doing that 2-minute drill, and he actually performed very well. Now Chris Lindstrom, whew, guys, let me tell you, Chris Lindstrom, my goodness, this guy's a beast, y'all. He is a beast. It's no wonder he's considered to be one of the top offensive linemen and offensive tackles in the league. He is a beast. He stayed on the field throughout the majority of the practice. I mean, I say that because I know he had to come off the field at a point of time or two, but I didn't see it. But like I said, he stayed on the field with both Cousins. He stayed on the field with Cousins and Penix. But absolutely nothing was happening on his side unless he directed it. On that run by Bijan Robinson, Chris made an initial contact, and this is one thing that stood out. And I'm not gonna say all tackles don't do this, but one thing that stood out was, like I said, on that run by Bijan, he made an initial contact with Braylon Trice. He blocked him out of the play, and he continued upfield and sprung Bijan up the sideline. I didn't catch who he blocked after he blocked Braylon Trice, but that's the kind of offensive line smarts we need across the whole offensive front. Don't just stop because you have that initial man blocked. If you can go, especially if it's a run play, if you can go and block somebody else, then hey, let's do that. Get the feet to moving. I know it's tiring, but Chris Lindstrom, like I said, that guy is a beast. He's a big guy too, but he is a beast. To continue on, I'm trying to make my way through my notes here. Both Cousins and Penix got a chance to run the 2-minute drill. Cousins, like I said, was spot on through the drill, doing what he was brought here to do, and that's orchestrate the offense, distribute the ball, move the ball up down the field, mostly convert these third downs to first downs on a consistent basis. Let me say that again. I think Kirk Cousins was brought here to convert those third downs to first downs on a consistent basis. Matt Ryan, he converted a few in his day, but it wasn't as consistent as one may have thought. And it was absent last year. There was nothing happening with Mariota or Desmond Ridder. It did happen. It came through the hands of Kyle Pitts, whether we converted a third down. Tyler Algier converted a few, but it was absent last year. It was absent. The defense was woe out, and the defense caught a lot of slack last year. But hopefully that won't be the case this year. We got depth now to keep the defense sort of fresh. But I don't think that'll be because Kirk Cousins is not converting these third downs. But he, converting these third downs to give us third down conversions give us a change in the game dramatically. It gives us more opportunities to score, and it gives the defense even more time to rest. So I'm looking for Kirk Cousins and Penix, actually, because Penix did a great job too. He converted a third down, but Kirk Cousins converted, I think 2 out of the 3, I think it was. Yeah. So it was Kirk Cousins is I can't say it enough, guys. He changed the dynamic of this offense. I'm telling you. So we got something to look for. And like I said, it was the biggest takeaway I took of Friday night. Who else I didn't talk about? Let's see. That defense. I go back to defense. Bertrand. Bertrand had a sack. He showed his speed and agility on that sack. He actually played pretty well in coverage. He was not giving up any landscape on that side of the field, and that's what I liked about Bertrand. Uh, and he had most of the time the ball was on that left hash mark, and Bertrand was playing on that right hash mark. So it was a lot of real estate over there for anything that could happen, whether it be a run play, pass, but anything that came over there. Where I mean, he had it covered outside the two runs that Bijan had, and then the one that Tyler Algier broke, which I don't think he was on the field. I think Braylon Trice was on that side. But either way it go, when Bertrand was in there, he covered real estate like nobody's business. So I'm actually looking for more out of him. I would like to see more out of him because I didn't see him on, but at least I didn't pay attention to it anyway. See more of him on the field. But like I said, I didn't, because he played, I think, with the second string defense, I believe it was. So I'm looking to see more of him on the field. And I think if he's a quick study, he's going to be, I'm talking about future, he's going to make his way onto that, maybe to the starting lineup. I can see that. He one of these sideline guys. Like I said, I didn't see him a lot of coverage plays, but I'll take that back, in a lot of sideline plays. But the couple of coverage plays that he played very well. On one play, he had to hold down Kyle Pitts, which was a mismatch all day, and Kyle Pitts caught that pass. But like I said, but when it came to covering that real estate on that side, I mean, he was pretty spot on. The way Jimmy Lake was interchanging our defensive front, and he kept these guys fresh. I mean, even during 2-minute drill, I mean, he was getting them in. But that's a true benefit, for our defense. Because in the past, well, we didn't have, especially in the game against Tampa Bay, where Tampa Bay was able to run up and down the field, and our defense took a lot of slack from that. I mean, but we didn't have anybody else. We couldn't interchange them the way we want them to. We couldn't change people around, especially when Grady Jarrett went down. When he went down, it was, oh my goodness, it was plug and play. Who can we put where? We end up having to move in Ebiketie out of his position, and it's not what you want to do, especially when you have that guy actually beasting at the position that his original position. So hopefully we can get Ebiketie back in his position, and the way, like I said, Jimmy Lake has this depth, and it's going to be tough. I mean, it's to decide who we're going to keep when we get down to this 53-man roster. I do believe, though, we're going to have more depth on that defensive front than we've had in the past. And I say that because what's been happening with our defense late in late games. Not saying that Kirk Cousins won't have us in a position where the game is already won, but just in case, in late games in the past, our defense is shot. So hopefully this depth with all these young guys, I'm hoping that we'll be able to keep more fresh bodies on that defensive front. One guy that I did not catch was Brandon Dorless. Yeah, I didn't see him out there. I didn't didn't really look for him. But there's no chatter about him like it has been initially coming in. So I'm wondering what's going on with him. If anybody knows, please comment down in the chat. Let me know. Fill me in. Maybe I missed it somewhere. Maybe I missed him on Friday. But I did not hear his name called at all. Of course, most of the night we heard Grady Jarrett's name called most of the night. But if you guys know what's going on with Brandon Dorless, I mean, let me know. Let me know. I mean, I maybe, like I said, I missed it. Lastly, guys, there was a issue. It wasn't an issue. It was a conversation brought up about our field goal kicker. Cool. But during those 2-minute drills, both of them, he nailed and I didn't remember seeing him warming up. If he did it before I saw it. But doing those 2 minute drills, and that was the whole purpose of the 2 minute drills too, was to get in field goal position where Koo can come in and kick the field goal. And two times rather, 3 times actually, he nailed field goals. One from 53, and I think it was the other one from 54 or 56. I know it matched his season longest. Yeah, it matched his season longest. So, if there was any concerns about Koo from previous seasons, yeah, get rid of it. He's a sure win. I mean, both 50+ yards, and like I said, if I missed him warming up, I missed it. But I didn't see him do it. But he came in and nailed those things. And that one that was for 54 yards or 56 yards, it had room to spare. So the one that was from 53 or 54, I mean, it went right over the goalpost. But that one that was from 54 yards to 56 yards, that one had room to spare. It actually could have went longer. But guys, that was my take from Friday Night Lights in the Benz. I hope I pointed out anything that everybody wanted to know about. But if there were any questions, please feel free to comment. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Subscribe, like this video rather, and subscribe to my channel. Guys, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you all that has subscribed to it. Any questions, comments, concerns, please put them in my comment. I answer all of them. It may take me a day or two because I get a lot of them, people. So, like I said, if you have anything, put it in the comment down and let me know what you think. And please, if anybody knows what's going on with Brandon Doyle, put that down in the comments. And I'm a little behind with this starting on my podcast. It was initially supposed to start last week. Like I said, I sustained an injury, so I'm still working on it. But I'm going to wait till I'm healed first, as well as getting back to work. So, guys, I appreciate you watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys at the first game. Peace.